Hey guys, jumping right in this. I did not shoot an intro, so I'm just going to narrate over it. Let me know if you like this style. But I'm taking apart the front end here so we can get the cab off to get started on the body work. Essentially, the bolts were just spinning as I was trying to separate the inner from the outer fenders, so I figured I would just take them off as a pair. Getting the cowl off, I had a hell of a time trying to get the wiper arms off as well. But they are splined, and you literally just have to wedge them and pull, and eventually, after a lot of cursing, they just pop off. So, taking all the screws out, getting the cowl off, and then we'll get the fenders off. There's 3 bolts on the cab that are holding that on, and once you get that, you can get to all the bolts and get that off and get everything from the other side as well. Next, we got to get the doors off. So you get a couple of the bolts started, use a stool or something to support the weight. The doors were definitely heavier than I thought they were going to be. Once that's done, we can start taking apart the interior, taking out the insulation and the floor mat. You can see the original color. Overall, that portion of the floor is in really good condition. Okay, well, we have the cab pretty much ready to get pulled. Still got to pull the steering column, but other than that, a couple little wiring harnesses to undo to the rear taillights. But then we're ready to pull the cab. You're probably wondering, why on earth are you pulling the cab? You've said 100 times that it's not a restoration. When you see what's going on here, I think you're going to see why I did that. So essentially, long story short, the cab's not really that safe. As we get into this, so nice original paint. As we get in here, the passenger side itself is not the worst side, which I kind of thought it was going to be, but it's not. We have, let me get a light on, sorry about that. Okay, so we are rusted completely through the floor on this side. Otherwise, it's not too bad. These outer rockers were definitely done at one point, but it looks like they just used like a slip over. Pull this up. They just slipped over and riveted it in. So the old one underneath, I guarantee is there, and I guarantee it's really bad. When we get on the back side here, cab support is pretty much not great once you get to about here. We'll see how that cleans up as we grind it down, but gone. Inner rocker, not terrible. If we can get to about here and tie into that, we'll be okay. Where all that spray foam was that you saw, it's all right there. It was actually wired together here because there's no rigidity whatsoever on that side. And then the rear cab mount, you can see that, is also pretty much shot. When we look underneath, or excuse me, when we look in the cab, I had pointed this out previously. So the spray foam, but then when we come to the back here, that's not even attached. So the rust on that side, we'll see what this looks like when we get this out. But the rust on this side is not great. When we come to you can kind of see it. The cab corner on this side, you can see that crack, and it just flexes like crazy. So that's pretty much what we're dealing with on the passenger side. Driver's side, like I said, has ended up being a little worse than I thought. So when we come down into the back corner here, cab corner looks okay, but then just underneath that, you can't see it. Anyway, there is a hole in there. As we come to the rocker, you can see right through there. You can see my foot. This is all gone. This whole thing, this whole floor pan, pretty much from here all the way to here is going to have to be gone through and redone. This is all, I mean, this is just Swiss cheese. This is all pretty bad. Beyond that, it's solid on this side, which is good. And then the rockers themselves, same thing. They were done and just riveted on. So, pretty bad. And let's see here. This front A-pillar's not terrible. This cab mount is not good. Right where it needs to be good, it's not. And then that's your inner rocker. So when I say the truck and the cab is not really all that safe, I think you can see why. So we get to the cab mount on the back, pretty much gone. So lots and lots and lots to do here. I considered just putting in a whole new floor, because I don't know how easy it's going to be tying in all of the mounts and all the different pieces. But now that I'm digging into it a little bit more, I don't think I need an entire floor. So we'll see how it all cleans up. Looking at the top side of it, it's still pretty solid. The bottom side, there's a little bit of surface rust and whatnot, but we'll see how it cleans up. We'll go from there. Alright, well, after that long-winded explanation, I still had to get the parking brake out, which is what I'm doing now. I had to do the steering column, the wiring harness to the rear lights, as well as the brakes. Just getting the parking brake out, really not too bad. There's a bolt. You just got to get the clip out of there. Then once you do, you just pry this clip off and it comes right out. With the steering column, which you're going to see here in a second, I got really frustrated, and for whatever reason, there's a retaining clip that I didn't think to look and see if there were screws. I just had to pull some of the insulation away a little bit further, and that would have made things tremendously easier, but I basically got frustrated and I didn't film all of this. I also didn't film disconnecting the brakes, but that is also the last thing that you need to do before you can pull the cab. Alright, brakes are disconnected from the proportioning valve, so there's nothing connecting the brake lines to the cab, meaning this cab outside of the body mount bolts should be ready to pull off. So stay tuned for that. We're going to do that next time. What I'm going to show you is how we're going to do that with the engine hoist. We'll build a little bracket to help lift that off, which I'll show you, and we're going to build a little dolly that the cab can sit on and move around, as well as being able to flip it on its back so we can work on that. Before that, also, we're going to have to get the cab inside here braced, especially because we are eventually going to lay the cab on its back. But yeah, that's pretty straightforward. So we'll get into that next time. We'll get the cab off and we'll start doing some body work. So peace. We'll see you later.
Let's go. I ain't the first with the curse, with the thirst that I wanna be better, not worse, man it hurts. I'm on this earth with my words and I put them all together, insert, cause I wanna have worth. Working hella hard till they put me in the dirt. Gonna go far, man, listen to my words.